Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nazir page 28, which discusses that the husband has the right, when he finds out that his wife made a declaration saying that she wishes to be a Nazir, that he has the ability to have that vow annulled. He could have it removed. And the reason why is because one of the things that she cannot do is she's not allowed to drink wine. And the consumption or lack of being able to drink wine and be able to have it regularly in the house, as well as other great products, is something in which will affect the actual relationship between the husband and wife. Because a husband doesn't have a right to necessarily annul every vow, but certainly things in which are what's called beina levina, or things which cause inui nefesh, things which cause pain, suffering, anguish in the house, because of this vow, that he is allowed to remove. So it's understood that when a woman says, I'm a Nazir, which translates to mean that you're not allowed to drink wine, that's something in which will have a major effect on the entire house. And therefore the question is, until what time in the procedure of being a Nazir can he have this annulled? So we know at the very end of the process of being a Nazir, you have to bring sacrifices, offerings. And the law is, even though there are actually 3 sacrifices that are brought, according to the first opinion in our Mishnah, just as long as the entire process, which includes the very end, which is the sprinkling of the blood on the altar, that once that was done for one of the animals, at that point, she is now allowed to drink wine. And therefore, as long as even one sacrifice was brought, so the law is that he cannot annul it anymore, even though there's more things to do, is because she's allowed to drink wine. So then, of course, since there's no issue of her not being able to drink wine anymore, so therefore he is no longer allowed to annul her vow. Now, there are other opinions, but I'd like to focus on the very last step, because after the offerings are brought completely, all 3 of them, there's one more stage. Now, even though you're a Nazir and you're supposed to have your hair grow and not cut it, however, at the very end of when you're no longer a Nazir, the first thing you have to do is you have to cut your hair. And when I mean you have to cut your hair, you have to completely cut it off. It has to be completely shaven, so you're completely bald. So according to Rabbi Meir, he says, you're right. There is a point that she's allowed to drink wine, but we still will allow the husband, even after all 3 sacrifices were brought, we will still allow him to step up and annul this vow. Why? She's allowed to drink wine because he does not want his wife to have to shave her head bald. That is also something in which he can find, as we could probably understand, would be something which he would not want his wife to do. And he may not find her physically as attractive because her hair is completely shaven. Again, this is not talking about a person whose hair just falls out or because of some illness, but it's something which is preventable by not shaving your hair. And if he can protest, then she won't have to do it. So in this, the sages step up and say, okay, I understand your point, but maybe it's not such a big deal because she could always wear a wig. So even though her hair, she's bald because she shaved her hair off, maybe that shouldn't bother the husband because she can walk around with these beautiful wigs, and we know these shaitels can cost thousands of dollars, and maybe on some level, a lot of women's shaitels look better than their natural hair. So then what's the whole problem? So on this, Rabbi says it doesn't make any difference. The reality is that he will still find this to be repulsive, or something in which he will bother him. So even though it's true, he sees his wife and she has this beautiful shaitel, this beautiful wig on, but in his mind he knows that she really is bald, and therefore that's something which will still bother him, which is an interesting thing, because even a woman who always has her hair covered and her husband also, at least on the street, will always see her that way, but the reality is he still wants to be able to know that his wife has hair underneath.